Welcome back to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here today because we're tackling something literally almost every academic and researcher has faced, and let's be honest, probably lost sleep over. We're diving into a real case study on how to take a messy, sprawling, and ultimately rejected academic draft and transform it into a crisp, winning proposal. And we're going to do this using a highly structured, brilliantly organized one-pager. So if you've ever stared at a blinking cursor, just completely overwhelmed, wondering how to wrangle thousands of words into a cohesive story, you are in exactly the right place. So let's start right here. Why do good research papers actually get rejected? It's a painful experience, right? You spend months, maybe even years collecting data. The science is totally solid. The findings are novel. But then you get that dreaded email. The reviewers reject it, saying it's unclear, hard to follow, or poorly structured. Today, we're going to follow the journey of a struggling researcher, someone who did all the hard work but just failed to communicate it. It's heartbreaking, honestly, but it highlights an absolutely crucial truth. Brilliant science can be completely overshadowed by bad writing. But hey, don't worry, because structure is a totally learnable skill, and today we've got the perfect blueprint to fix it. To rescue our researcher's draft, we're bringing in our mentor for this explainer. It's a comprehensive infographic by Mohammed Haroon Shaukat called How I Write a Research Paper, Abstract to Conclusion. Honestly, this thing is a masterpiece of academic structuring. It breaks down every single section of a paper by its exact purpose, word count, format, and the specific steps to take. It even includes these brilliant mini cues and quick writing rules. We're going to use this exact cheat sheet to diagnose the fatal flaws in our researcher's rejected draft and apply the specific fixes needed to turn the whole thing around. Okay, let's jump right into this. Here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the messy first draft. Then, we'll break down 3 major academic writing mistakes: the summary trap, the paragraph pileup, and the disjointed jumps. Finally, we'll see how fixing these creates a winning proposal. Section 1, the messy first draft. Section 2, the summary trap. Okay, so our researcher's dilemma is incredibly common. They had thousands of words sitting on the page, just a ton of hard work, but the reviewers flagged it for vague methods, weak claims, and terrible flow. The very first place they fell into a trap was the literature review. Now, this section is supposed to build the theoretical foundation of your paper. It should be a tight 800 to 1,500 words, organized into about 5 to 8 thematic paragraphs. But our researcher, they didn't do that at all. They fell into a classic trap. They just listed previous studies chronologically. Smith found this in 2018. Jones found this in 2019. The cheat sheet explicitly calls this out as a massive rule violation. Do not summarize one study after another. It just turns your review into a boring list. Instead, the right way, the absolute do, is to organize studies by theme or variable. You really need to show the agreements and contradictions, not just a timeline. And this beautifully illustrates the exact workflow to fix that summary trap. The infographic gives us a mini cue for the literature review, and it goes exactly like this. First, identify the theme. Second, compare the studies within that theme. Third, critique them. Really highlight the limits in prior work and explain what's underexplored. And fourth, you naturally arrive at the gap. By moving from comparison to critique, your research gap reveals itself organically, seamlessly linking right back to your own study. It shifts your writing from just describing what others did to critically analyzing exactly why your new research is desperately needed. It's a total game changer. Section 3, the paragraph pileup. Let's look at our researcher's introduction. It should be a crisp 600 to 900 words. And their results and discussion sections? Combined, those should sit somewhere between 1,200 and 1,800 words. But in the draft, they were just massive, unbroken blocks of text, a total wall of words. Reviewers absolutely despise this because it forces them to work so hard just to find your main points. So the magic cure for bloated text is this number right here. 1. This is the golden formatting rule from our source material. You must strictly adhere to one idea per paragraph. Not 2, not 3, just one single unifying idea. If you introduce a new concept, you literally hit the return key and start a new paragraph. It's a super strict constraint, I know, but it forces absolute discipline into your writing. To support that golden rule, the cheat sheet gives us these vital quick writing rules. Keep it to 4 to 6 sentences per paragraph. Keep most of those sentences short. Use headings clearly to guide the reader's eye. Avoid long, packed, overly complex sentences. Keep a clear, direct academic tone. When our researcher finally applied these formatting rules, something magical happened. Those exhausting walls of text suddenly transformed into punchy, highly readable arguments.
It finally gave the reviewer space to breathe and actually digest the science. Section 4. The disjointed jumps.
Now, even with perfectly formatted paragraphs, if you jump abruptly from methods straight into results without any logical bridge, your paper is going to feel like a Frankenstein monster. And our researcher's draft was exactly that, a collection of isolated parts rather than a cohesive, flowing story. To fix this, we look at the very bottom of our cheat sheet, which features something incredibly powerful, the golden flow strip. This strip maps the sections from abstract all the way down to conclusion. The cheat sheet explicitly tells us to maintain flow across sections and keep transitions smooth. Maintaining this flow isn't just a nice suggestion, folks. It is a mandatory rule if you actually want to keep your reviewer engaged.
And just look at how beautifully the golden flow strip translates those academic sections into a logical narrative using 6 sequential questions. 1. What is the problem? Well, that's your introduction. 2. Why does it matter? Still your introduction, setting the stage. 3. What is known? That's your thematic literature review. 4. How is it studied? Your step-by-step methods. 5. What was found? Your objective results. 6. What does it mean? That's your discussion. By ensuring each section answers its specific question, you perfectly connect every single part of the paper, from the abstract all the way to the conclusion, into one logical, unbroken, and highly compelling narrative.
Section 5. The winning proposal.
So, by organizing the literature thematically, strictly enforcing that one idea per paragraph rule, and aligning everything to the golden flow strip, the messy draft is completely gone. In its place is a sharp, publish-ready paper that reviewers will actually enjoy reading. But to seal the deal, you have to stick the landing in the conclusion. The cheat sheet has very specific advice here. It needs to be short, between 200 and 350 words, and formatted as exactly one paragraph. The steps are super clear. Restate the study focus, summarize the main finding, highlight your contribution, and, as the rule says, close the paper with a sharp, final takeaway. Or, as the mini-Q puts it, focus to findings to contribution to final takeaway. And crucially, looking back at our don'ts list, you absolutely must not introduce any new arguments in the conclusion. Just summarize, highlight the impact, and get out. Well, this brings us to the end of our explainer, and I really want to leave you with a provocative thought. Think about that draft sitting on your hard drive right now. You know the one that feels way too messy to even look at. If you applied the one idea per paragraph rule, and if you aligned your sections to the golden flow strip today, what hidden, compelling narrative would you finally uncover? The brilliant science is already in there. You just need to give it the structure it deserves to shine. Thank you so much for joining me, Focus Learners. Grab these rules, restructure your writing, and go get published.